Hello once more, my friends, and welcome back. It's time to go deeper into the underbelly of D&D horror stories. It's a nice way of saying this is where we're reading from. I was going for some dramatic, but it was stupid. Anyway, this is Special Snowflake Melts Down. So to start off with, my D&D group is all new and running our first campaign. Even the DM has never done this before, so we're basically all learning as we go, with the DM probably being a little more lenient at times with our shenanigans than he should be. Anyway, the story consists of myself, my fiancée F, the DM, and the DM's sister, DMS. When we first set out on this campaign, DM and F seemed to know the most out of all of us. DM having read up on how to run a campaign, and F because he likes watching all those YouTube videos that talk all things D&D. Despite wanting to play, I was overwhelmed with all the different stats and roll modifiers and such, leaning heavily on DM and F to help me figure out what this roll adds up to and whether it means I can perform this action or not. Over time, I got more comfortable and even got more into the roleplay aspect, giving my character more personality. All of this is set up so you understand my frustration with the DMS. Being an avid RPG gamer, she has a serious spotlight complex, always charging ahead with her decisions and leading conversations with NPCs without really letting the rest of us weigh in, as if this were some kind of single-player game. F is really good at asserting himself, but in the beginning I wasn't. I was happy to just go along for the ride. However, as my confidence grew, I began trying to participate more, and that's where the issues start. DMS would talk over me, not letting me, and by extension my character, make a suggestion until the moment had passed. For instance, I played an elf druid, and would want to use my proficiency to hide and sneak into a room to eavesdrop on a conversation. She would tell the DM something like, "I welcome to the leader and demand to know where the prisoners are being kept." Opportunity missed. Other times, she would veto my suggestions because her lawful good paladin just wouldn't do that. I made my character lawful good as well, but as a young elf, I gave her the setback of being hot-headed, at times letting her common sense slip away and doing something kind of rash. But because DMS wouldn't want something to happen, she would argue with me because somehow her character's self-righteous beliefs trumped me. For example, I wanted to stealth my way through a room of reanimated skeletons to hurry up and stop the big bad guy from doing evil things, but we had to stop and fight each one so she could do some spell and send them all into peaceful eternal rest. Whatever. When we looted their treasure, she wouldn't let us keep it because it was stealing. Needless to say, I'm getting seriously pissed at how I was finally enjoying a game and DMS was constantly hogging all the roleplay and being a fucking diva. Many sessions ended with me venting to F about it in the car on the way home, and we both agreed that it was almost worth ending the campaign and not playing with her anymore. Then came last night. We had just received word of a green dragon hiding in a nearby tower. DMS got all puppy about it, and I made a remark as a player out of character that I want to try taming the dragon and riding into future combat a la Daenerys I don't know what that is. I knew it wouldn't work, but I was going to give it one dice roll before giving up entirely. If it somehow worked, it'd be pretty fucking epic. DMS immediately starts whining that she's the one with the ability to befriend animals and that she's going to make it her friend. She also always has all the loot, including a necklace I wanted, and she gets to decide what happens with it. F in character starts trying to explain why we don't want to fuck with a poison dragon, leading DM to read off the massively OP stats. DMS keeps insisting she's going to be friends with it. They go back and forth for a while in character until finally DMS blows up screaming at F about how she didn't even want to play in the first place, and she just went with because the rest of us wanted to play, and if we can't just let her do this one thing, meh meh meh. Then she excuses herself and stomps downstairs and starts crying. The DM goes to comfort her, and F and I just sit there rolling our eyes at each other and debating if we should just leave. We can hear her downstairs crying about how she had a hard week at work and how she just wants to do this one thing, as though she hadn't been completely dominating everything thus far. In the end, she came back upstairs, apologized, and we kept going, and then left. But I'm still tempted to make my character fall on her own spear next battle and not make a new character, effectively ending my participation in this group. I am just done with the me fest. You can't enjoy a team effort if part of your team's trying to do a glorified solo run. Oh boy. So, some of you may know this and some of you may not, but many years ago I used to play D&D and I had a small group. It consisted of more than one neckbeard, and one of these was very, very much that guy, much like this girl is in this group. He was the constant brooding anime anti-hero who somehow had all the magic powers even though we were just starting out and nobody was supposed to be above, I think nobody was supposed to be above like a level 5. So we're not supposed to have any kind of great stats. We're just starting out. You can be kind of proficient in a few things, but don't go overboard. That's kind of the whole point. Oh no. So, to put it this way, let me explain what our classes were. We had a cleric, we had a rogue, we had a fighter, we had a wizard, and we had a fucking dragon shaman. Can you guess which one was the neckbeard? Yeah. Everybody was basically just trying to learn how all of this worked, and honestly, I think we were learning on 3.5, I don't even remember. But, that's really not the point. The point is that he made so many specific and game-altering demands that it made these sessions with him virtually unbearable. First off, no one's allowed to have any kind of music. Not atmospheric, not background, not even a fucking radio. Because that's ruining the game. Yeah. Secondly, whenever he would roleplay his character, instead of explaining what's going on or explaining his position, he would do it all in a very stereotypical anime edgelord voice. So it was always like, I see the cave and I'm gonna hang back and go in when everybody else is done. That kind of shit. Yeah, doing anything with him was a nightmare. He was the one who... Okay, preface this. I was playing rogue. I know, I should have been a wizard. But I was playing rogue, so myself, the wizard, and the cleric all had the ability to sense if there were traps of different kinds. I could see physical traps, they can detect, curses or whatever. So the plan was, find a door, the three of us have to check it. One right after the other, okay? If anybody misses anything, there's a good chance we'll see something else. Because if you're basically even if you're looking for a magical trap, you're still using perception. So, wizard may not see a curse on the door, but he may see that weird trip string attached to it. So, yeah, and then we have, deal with the plan accordingly. On more than one occasion, our dragon shaman would just kick the door in while we were checking it, basically ruining whatever element of surprise or any kind of safety we had. And eventually it got to the point, after I think the second session, that the DM started really obviously creating ways just to fuck with him, and the rest of the party would just let it happen. Like, we were done with his bullshit. He constantly wanted to be the super broody anime hero, and nobody wanted to fucking deal with that shit. His big thing was that he had a sword and a spear, because he could use 2 weapons. You're not supposed to be able to do that at that early of a stage. Like, you're supposed to learn as you go. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, it wasn't supposed to be something he could do. So, DM goes in this big thing about how there's this magnificent sword on an altar in the middle of a room after we get in there. We're in a crypt, mind you. And there's this sword, and there's like moonlight, and it's glittering, and all this other shit. And without even having to roll a check, I just look at this thing and go, that's a trap. There's no way that's not a trap. Look at the way it's set up. If it's not a trap, if it's there specifically as like an homage to a fallen warrior, it's obviously cursed or somehow protected, because you're not supposed to take it. So they would have put something on it to keep you from basically taking it. So I say this, and my wizard friend, G-Man actually, and if you're listening to this, hey man, rolls a whole magic check, and it's just like, yeah, it's totally cursed. Like, I don't know what kind, but there's something on it, and it ain't good, so don't mess with it. I realize it looks fancy, but wait till we can get a big stick and poke at it, you know? Oh no, not Hero Boy. He rushes in, grabs the sword, and the curse is twofold. One, the blade breaks off, becomes ethereal. He thinks he has a ghost blade. Well, sort of. It is a ghost blade, much in the same way that ghosts can't hurt you, so it does 0 damage no matter what you do. Also, it is now permanently bonded to his hand, his dominant hand, so he can't even use his sword. He's basically just fucked. And after going through the inscription, cleric and wizard, who both understand magical runes and all this other stuff, one more so than the other obviously, are able to more or less piece together what the actual altar says in removing the curse. And removing the curse means you must expose it to sunlight. Only the pure rays of the golden sun can break the curse. This wouldn't be a problem. We could just turn around and walk out of the crypt, except, oh no, when you kicked in the door the first time, you set off a trap and the big wall closed behind us, and now we're stuck in here. Thanks. Appreciate that. It was a campaign that roughly ended with us eventually finding a black dragon at the end of this run. This crypt thing actually led into like a chasm, and there's a dragon and a big pile of gold. And again, Hero is convinced that he can speak dragon because he's, dragon shaman. Well, he fails his role and speaks dragon poorly, and basically says something like, "Oh, Lord Dragon, you are so mighty. We wish to talk to you. You are a hero amongst men and the greatest of all kind," or some bullshit like that, to which the dragon says, "Okay, 1, I speak common, and 2, I'm a woman. So stop calling me Lord and Mister." And the only thing that kept us from being eaten by this very pissed off lady dragon is that I basically walked into the room, shoved Hero Boy aside, and said, "Listen, this is what happened." And explained all of the fucking misadventures up until this point. It's like, we don't want your gold. We're not even going to fight you for the gold. All we want is to open the door and go home. This is bullshit. I'm tired. I killed a zombie and it exploded on me. Everything smells bad, and I'm pretty sure I have some kind of sickness. And to our credit, Dragon Lady felt bad for us and let us go. So we had that going for us. That was the only silver lining. But yes, I totally understand how this person feels dealing with somebody who wants to railroad the entire game because they want to be the anime superhero. It's fucking bullshit, and they're the worst kind of player. Maybe not the worst. There are worse things. But that's the end of this episode, and thank you all for being here. If you enjoy this, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, mainly because it might piss off YouTube, and I think that's kind of funny. If you'd like to keep the lights on so I can keep doing things like this, you can do that by donating to Patreon or buying something from the merch store. Much like PBS, this show is sponsored by viewers like you. And if you have your own story you'd like to send me, or just anything you want to send me, cool pictures of your cat, a funny meme you found one time, a postcard that says life's a beach on it, you can do that by going to r/Moonhorse stories and posting it there. I will see it. I do check it every day. I don't have much of a social life. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye!